Good evening, and welcome to the Tampa Bay Area Regional Transportation Authority's New Freedom Initiative live telephone town hall. My name is Bob Clifford, and I am the Executive Director for the Tampa Bay Area Regional Transportation Authority, better known as TBARTA. I will be your moderator for tonight's call. Thank you for joining us. We hope you find this event informative and useful. Tonight with us, we have two local representatives on tonight's panel. We have Dennis Dix with the Hernando County Metropolitan Planning Organization and Lon Fry of Citrus County Transit. First, I'd like to explain the format for tonight's call. After our opening remarks, we will take a few minutes to discuss the history of TBARTA and provide a brief overview of the New Freedom Initiative. We will then have a live question and answer session, and you will have the opportunity to ask questions to the panel directly. To get through as many of your questions as possible, we must limit everyone to one question. To ask a question live on the call, please press *3 on your telephone keypad. You will then be transferred to one of our staff members who will take your name and your question. You may also send us a question through our website, www.tbarta.com, or follow the discussion on Twitter and Facebook. For those asking questions live on the call, when we are ready for you to ask your question, your name will be called, and you will be asked to repeat your question for our panel and live audience. Why don't we open up tonight's event with some words from the panel members this evening. First, why don't we start with Dennis. Dennis, welcome.
Thank you. Very glad to be here. I'm the Transportation Planning Coordinator for Hernando County and cover all the modes of surface transportation, including transit, roads, sidewalks, and very happy to be here tonight to answer questions and see what the public thinks.
We also have, thank you, Dennis, we also have with us tonight Mr. Lon Fry with Citrus County Transit. Lon, welcome.
Well, thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm the Transit Director for Citrus County Transit, and we're very anxious to get input from the community on what we can do better and answer some of your questions.
Now let's talk about the New Freedom Initiative. Remember, if you'd like to ask a question, please press 0 on your telephone keypad. You will then be transferred to one of our staff members who will take your name and your question. And you can also submit your questions to us through our website at www.tbarta.com. Just a little bit of history on TBARTA. We were created in 2007 by the Florida legislature with the specific intent of improving mobility for passengers and freight for 7 Tampa Bay counties: Citrus, Hernando, Hillsborough, Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, and Sarasota counties. We also undertake special projects or initiatives or efforts that we work with individual counties, agencies, and the regional public. One of those issues is what we're talking about tonight, is looking towards that long-term vision of an interconnected transportation network, one step at a time. Recently, we began this initiative, what we refer to as the New Freedom Initiative, to explore ways to remove barriers to personal mobility within and between Hernando and Citrus counties, which, as you all understand and recognize, are two of our more rural and traditionally underserved communities within the Tampa Bay region, yet still have fully the same type of challenges from a transportation perspective of all of our residents and citizens within the Tampa Bay area. If you're interested in learning specifically more about the New Freedom Initiative, please look at our website at www.tbarta.com. We're going to be asking for questions and comments from you tonight related to specifically transportation or personal mobility in your area. Things like, what are the challenges that you face in getting around in Citrus or Hernando County? What are the barriers that you may face related to access to transportation resources, things such as the ability to catch the bus, to find other ways to get on other modes of transportation, the ability and usage of a personal vehicle. All of those are questions and issues we want to hear from you tonight, or challenges about routes and locations in terms of being able to get around Citrus and Hernando counties. Also are looking for your input related to thoughts, issues, or concerns you may have about the types of trips you take and what some of the challenges or issues you have related to the types of trips, whether they be personal trips, work trips, medical trips, shopping trips. All of those types of challenges or issues we want to hear from you tonight. And just remind everybody, if you have a question, please press *3, and then we'll be able to get your question in the queue and be able to speak with you. Why don't we begin to start looking at some of these questions, understanding that really our real big goal here tonight is to hear your input, to look at increasing the cooperation between local entities, provide access, provide employment opportunities for folks from a transportation perspective, and a look for ways of addressing mobility-challenged populations in our outlying areas. First, we have on the phone here tonight, we have Margie, who's on the phone with us tonight. Margie, welcome. You're on. You have a question for us?
Yes. Look, I'm going on 77. Of course, I'm in perfect health, but I need to know how come we can't have a bus service in Hernando County that extends out into the Royal Hills and Royal Highlands suburbs. I've been living in the same place for over 38 years. I try to get a bus service. Then I got one, but it don't come any closer than Walmart, and that's 5 miles and 7 cents from my house. I can get Transamerica to take me shopping once a week for $7, but the only thing is you're only allowed to bring 3 bags. So first every month to get my Social Security check, I just get a cab, which costs me about $30. And then at least I can bring my food home, so I don't have to go once a week. That would actually be $28 or more, and you're only allowed to bring 3 bags if you're on Transamerica. So how come they can't put something in Hernando County that could pick up the elderly people like me and take them grocery shopping once or twice a month, like maybe for $10 or something?
Okay. Margie, thanks for that question. I want to turn it over to Dennis. Dennis?
Thank you, Margie, for the question. It's good when we've heard several like that in recent years. Yes, there is room for improvement, and our fixed route transit system, the bus, is still relatively young and growing from the urban core of Spring Hill and Brooksville. One initiative that we're trying to work on is to better connect the rural transportation disadvantage system with our fixed route system so that it would be easier for riders to connect to the bus and get more mobility with what we have right now. So that would be the short-term solution.
Dennis, also I know one of the things that we always look at in the world is the ability for potentially to limit, to have some deviation of routes sometimes in terms of being able to look at that. I know that's something Hernando has looked at in the past and utilized, but always looking at other ways of trying to find a way to provide that solution for folks, aren't we?
Yeah, we're growing the system, but not as quickly as we would like to.
Just reminding everybody, if you have a question for us, *3, and we'll get you on the line. Next up, we have Mary, who has a question for us. Mary, you're on. Please go ahead.
I have wondered, I've asked this before, why aren't there just summer runs of buses to places like Pine Island, or other beach places that the young people or whatever could go to? The parking is limited, and this would help this parking situation, and they could all park their cars, say, in Weeki Wachee at the shopping center there, and perhaps other beach areas that I'm not aware of and that are proposed. It would lessen the traffic. Also, the other question is, why are there not covered bus stops so that the people waiting for the bus can sit in a partially covered area away from the weather?
Great questions, Mary. I'm going to, again, turn to Dennis. Dennis, you're on.
Thank you. Good. Yes, they are good questions. The bus currently does go by the Weeki Wachee attraction as one of the main loops on the Purple Route. The question has been asked many times over the years why we don't go to the beach. Quite frankly, it just hasn't been funded yet. There's another issue with the beach itself, and that gets with the parking lot size. Is approximately it represents the handling capacity of the beach itself. If we have too many people coming in from off-site, then the beach itself has the probability of being over capacity, too many people, too crowded, and not functioning well. But that's a good question. The other thing about shelters and benches, we've just approved, the county just approved a bench program, and we're going to be putting benches out on lots of the routes very soon, and what will follow with that, we will also have a shelter program for the busier locations to protect our patrons.
Great. Thanks, Dennis. Next up, we have Candace, and after Candace, we have Scott, Dwayne, and Dave. So hang on the line. Gentlemen, you're up next. But first, we have Candace. Candace, welcome. You're on.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Last summer, my husband became permanently wheelchair bound, and we found out at that time that the bus situation is that you can arrange for transportation for a bus for a medical appointment, but let's say on the weekend you want to go grocery shopping or to a movie, there's nothing available.
Hi, Candace. I'd like to take that question. And you know, mobility is just such a tremendous challenge. I do know, I don't know exactly where you live. We do offer Saturday service on our deviated fixed route, and we have 14 paratransit vehicles during the week, Monday through Friday, that we try to accommodate this needs. And I do encourage you, to share, call our office, 527-7630. Let's see if we can do some personal attention on that call, on your need, to see if we can match you up and do a better job.
Lon, can you just repeat that phone number again so people could get that?
Citrus County Transit, 352-527-7630. Your input is so important for us to decide the direction we need to go in the future and to measure the need. And thank you, Candace, for your call.
And then, Dennis, the number in Hernando?
The number for the bus in Hernando County is 352-754-4444, and we would also be very interested in trying to assist.
And just for everybody's knowledge, all this information will be put up on our website at cbarda.com, so you can get all the numbers there if you didn't get them here. Next up, we have Scott is on the line. Scott, you're on the line live with us. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking my call. I'm calling about transportation needs. I'm visually impaired, and I take care of a 100% disabled veteran, and we live on the very southeast corner of Hernando County in the Ridge Manor area, and it's 1.5 miles one way and 1.5 miles another way just for me to get to the store. I was wondering if you guys are going to possibly send a bus out here on 301 in between, it's Talisman Land Estates. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's on the corner of 50 and 301 and then down south a little bit. But I'm stuck like right in the middle, and if I got to get somebody for transportation, I got to pay them. I was just wondering if there's anything in the works of a bus coming out my way.
Dennis?
Hi. Not in the near future, but we have in past years we've done surveys out there, and it's very interesting. The residents, for the most part, are as you stated, are interested in connecting to 301 to the Pasco County system, and not so much coming west into Brooksville or Spring Hill. But the best that we can do in the near term is to improve our demand response system and try to service you a little bit better that way. It's going to be quite a while before we have fixed route, I'm sad to say.
Thank you, Dennis. Next up, we have Dwayne. Dwayne, welcome. You're on the line.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to talk. I want to make a comment, and then I have a question.
Sure.
I hear people talking about the congestion in Citrus County. Well, let me tell you, I've had my home here 24 years, and in 24 years, two times have I ever stopped at a traffic light for more than one change of the light. And yet I lived in Pinellas County, and daily I would be 4 or 5 times going to work and coming home to work. So people in Citrus County have no clue what congestion is unless they've lived in Tampa or St. Pete or Miami or Orlando. So just a comment to you, don't let these people throw you that talk about congestion in Citrus County, because it just is not here. Then my question is that the toll road going through Citrus County, north to south, south to north, okay? This project should have been completed many years ago. There was a subdivision in Citrus County that raised a lot of ruckus about it, said it was going to create noise, that's just what happens when you build a road, no matter what kind of road it is, there is noise. And they ended up pushing and the project got stopped. My question is when is this project going to move forward? What kind of time frame construction?
Dwayne, I'll take that one. This is Bob with TBARDA. Related to the Suncoast 2 project, it actually begins in northern Hernando and would go all the way through Citrus to just north of Crystal River. That project, the alignment is set. Design is about 60% complete. The biggest challenge now is buying the right-of-way and coming up with the funding for construction. The Department of Transportation through Turnpike Enterprise continues to put money on the project, but we're still a ways away. It's going to be a while. They don't presently have any plans for construction in the next 5-year time period. So it's at least beyond the 5-year time period for addressing that. Next on the line, I do want to go to Leonard. Leonard, welcome. You're on the line live with us. Thank you.
This kind of like we touched on this with other people. I live on Barclay and Spring Hill Drive, and presently the bus does not go any further east on Spring Hill Drive than Mariner. On Route 50, the bus does run, quite a bit a ways east on Route 50, but again, the bus doesn't touch Barclay. Now, up until recently, we had one car. We now have 2 cars, so I can get around. My wife works, I don't. And also, the problem, I'd like to see an express bus to take us to Tampa. A lot of people don't want to drive 40, 45 miles to go to Tampa, to go to the shopping centers that they have there, museums, all the good stuff that Tampa has, and we don't. It'd be nice if there was an express bus that took us to Tampa. I believe in Pasco, Newport Richey, they have a bus that goes from Newport Richey to Tampa, but there's nothing in Spring Hill that takes us there.
Great questions, Leonard. I'm going to let Dennis go ahead and answer that.
Thank you. Your issue about not having service on Spring Hill Drive in eastern Spring Hill, in fact, that is the next project that we're implementing. Right now we're calling it the Green Route, and it will essentially establish a new route that goes from Brooksville down to the airport and then west on Spring Hill Drive over to Mariner, passing Barclay. We're anticipating that will become operational in the fall of 2015. In terms of reaching other urban areas, that's a good discussion point. It's a bit off in the future. We're looking at 2 possibilities in the future using the Parkway to get to Tampa, and Bob can address that more thoroughly than I. And also, there's active discussion with the Pasco County Transit System of using the 19 corridor to connect the bus to them as well.
Absolutely, Dennis. And it's a common question about looking at those longer service trips from an express bus service. That's certainly in everybody's plans. It's still a few years out there. I would tell you likely in the next 5 to 10 years we'll start to see that. But it is something that no matter where we are in the region, we get asked often about, and there's more and more desire for that. So as we continue to grow, that certainly is something that's going to come online. Next, we have Charles on the phone. Charles, welcome. You're on the line. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask you this question. Why are we continuously using gasoline to operate these buses when we have a better means of using propane gas or CNG gas for transportation of this magnitude between Citrus County, York County? It would save us numerous amounts of cost and energy, and it is the right thing to do because other countries are already doing this in their mass transit system. We're still using the old gasoline from the pump, and we could buy this a lot cheaper and get those fares down. And I know the federal government sponsors it because if UPS turned their whole fleet around and did it, I don't understand why our transportation systems don't do it. This will keep the cost down for you.
Mr. Neck, thank you for calling. It's a pleasure to speak with you again. As you're aware, we are looking into propane as a county, not only for transit but for other needs. And hopefully down the road, as you and I have discussed before, that this will be a viable option that will pay financial dividends.
Next up, we have Dave on the line. Dave, you have a question about Highway 41, US 41? Go ahead, you're on.
Good evening, y'all. I appreciate you taking my call. I'm inquiring about when are they going to complete Highway 41 from north of Brooksville all the way up into Denellen. This has been put off and put off. They opened it up 4-lane right before Inverness, and then north of Inverness it's back to the 2-lane deal, and it's a mess. And I don't care what this other man said about traffic. If you get stuck behind somebody on Highway 41 north or south of Inverness, it's pathetic. This has been put off for many, many years.
Dave, I'll go ahead and answer part of that for you. Is I will tell you that in the Citrus County, there's really 3 pieces. The piece north of State Road 44, just to about Independence, is actually funded in the next 5 years in the work program, in what we call the DOT work program for construction. The piece that goes north from there, from Independence all the way to State Road 200, has both design and right-of-way funded for it. You've got to buy some property, and so construction will be coming to that. The piece south in the Floral City area is actually also funded in the work program to do what we call a project development study, which is determine what is the solution for that project in terms of how you would move forward. Anything beyond that, anything between Brooksville and that area of Floral City, Dennis, as I recall, I don't believe there's anything presently funded coming up, is there not?
No. In Hernando County, the model hasn't been showing sufficient need for it compared to our urbanized area over on the west side of the county, but it is a future issue that we are planning for to eventually complete that 4-laning.
Next up, we have William. William, thanks for holding. You've got a question for us related to blind veterans?
Yes, my name is William Menendez. I'm with the Blind Veterans Association. I'm involved in Citrus County trying to get transportation from Citrus County to Highway 200 in Ocala. We don't have, as blind veterans, a support group in Citrus County. However, there is one right next in the Highway 200 in Ocala, which is, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes from the line. Is there a possibility so we can get transportation to that support group in Ocala? I'm talking about blind veterans now. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Menendez. My name is Lon. We've talked many times, and I do think that probably you bring up a great point, not only blind veterans but sight-impaired people in general. In that connectivity, I think it's going to be a group effort between the veterans organizations as well as people that are sight-impaired, and I think that's something that we can try to coordinate with Marion County, and hopefully we can make some progress towards your goal.
Next up, we have Barbara. Barbara, I know you've been holding a little bit. A question about sidewalks. Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome. You're on.
Yes. Hi. I'm living around Coronado and Spring Hill. In Spring Hill, Coronado and Mariner. But here in Coronado is very big traffic, and we don't have the sidewalks. And here is some few people who driving the bicycle, like even medical trips they have to do, and they have to drive on the street. But the sidewalk will be very, very welcome. This is my question.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm not sure which section of Coronado that you were at.
Coronado and Spring Hill.
Right, but are you talking north of Spring Hill Drive? Or
yeah, both, because Coronado is going like an angle.
Okay.
To answer your question, we are the highest priority for sidewalks in the Spring Hill urban area is around the schools, and that's where we started. That's the reason I asked about north or south Coronado, because we are actually actively engaged to the north. What I would recommend that you do is to call our office and discuss it further. Steve Diaz is our planner in the Hernando County Planning Office that addresses the sidewalk issues, and the number of the office is 754-4057, and we will be glad to discuss with you and see what we can do to improve the sidewalks in your area.
Great. Well, next we have a question from Mary. She's got a question about extending hours of operation. Mary, welcome. You're on.
I was wondering if and when the hours of operation will be extended, as currently for someone who is riding to school and to work, the hours are too short to get them both ways. It'll either get them there or get them back.
Go ahead, Lon.
Hi, Mary. I just one of the things when we put our deviated fixed ride together is exactly what you hit upon. We want to make it possible from all parts of Citrus County to be to school at 8 o'clock and have a return trip at 5. That's one of the barometers that we find to be very important. And I do encourage, if we're not meeting that obligation in your needs in Citrus, that I would love to hear from you personally at 527-7630 and see if we can work out some details.
Next up on the line, we have John, who has a question about transportation and funding. John, welcome. You're on.
Yeah. I got 30 years with transportation, and my question is, I understand a lot of people are looking to get rides where to go shopping, and there's a lot of veterans that need help. I understand all that. But my point is, in transportation, where does the cost actually come from at the end? With all this bus transportation you're talking about, Hernando County can't handle the cost of it, so I know the public is not paying enough for the buses. So who does pay for it at the end?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Hi, this is Dennis. I'll be glad to answer your question. Most of a large part of the transit is funded through Federal Transit Administration, and ultimately it's the gas tax that supports the funding of transit. There's about 25% of the operating cost comes from the county itself, of the local, and then a small amount from the fare boxes, and also from advertising revenue, things like that. Good question, though. There's always more demand than there is for funding. So. Well,
and just to expand a little bit, Dennis, yes, the reality from a transit perspective, does the fare pay for the cost? The answer is no. It does not. It is subsidized. That comes from gas taxes at both the federal, state, and local levels, primary sources of those subsidies. The issue that many would argue is roads are also subsidized from the perspective of we don't all drive on all of them, but yet that same source of funding pays for those. I'm not saying that from a debate perspective. That's just what the argument is. Transportation is expensive, and that's really kind of what it comes down to. And it's about prioritization and how much money you have with the dollars to make it go as far as you can. At this point, I'd like to go to Alicia. Alicia has a question for us about bus service in Sugar Mill Woods. Alicia, welcome. You're on.
Yes, hello, gentlemen. Good evening. Yes, I live in Sugar Mill Woods, and I'm legally blind, and I'm a prisoner in my own home, unfortunately. My husband is ill. He has cancer, and I can't get out. And I know I can have a bus come and pick me up for $5 and then bring me back for $5, but that's $10, and that goes into my budget, which is really skimpy. So what do you do for people that are in my situation? In order for me to walk for the bus where they pick you up at the front of Sugar Mill, I have to walk 3.5 miles. I'm 73 years old. So why would I want to live here? Give me a reason.
Alicia, I don't really know if I can ever run a deviated fixed ride into an affluent area such as Sugar Mill Woods. A lot of times we base our routes on the needs of the people in the neighborhoods, and I do know we're happy to give you service on the paratransit. As you pointed out, that isn't a more expensive choice, and we do have a program for transportation disadvantage where we can give a discounted fare. But I can, unfortunately, in an area as rural as Citrus County is, the chances of having a deviated ride system that hits a variety of neighborhoods is very difficult. I do think, we want to measure the demand, and as we plan for the future, to try to meet the needs that are presented to us.
Next we have on the line John, who has a question about the private sector in being able to deliver service. John, welcome. You're on.
Hi. Thank you for making me part of the town hall meeting. A few years back, I was discussing with, if I remember her name right, Joyce Valentino, one of the county commissioners here in Citrus, about starting a fixed bus route at fixed locations, getting benches out, getting businesses involved in getting benches at their places, and make it a community thing but privately ran. But I was worried that if I did all the footwork and invested the money, that once it got going and the county saw that it would work, but the county just pushed me out because their pocketbook strings are a little bigger than mine. And she said I wanted a waiver that the county wouldn't push me out once I got it going by just swamping me, you know what I'm saying? And she said the county would never give me that. I had a couple other investors that was interested in doing that. I don't know where they're at, but I forgot all about it basically until I got this phone call. So is that something that would still be available if I could pull some investors in, or would the county not push us out if we was running it? You know what, invested our own money?
Hey, John. Yeah, I understand where you came from. I work in the private sector, too. I can tell you at Citrus County Transit, we're the Community Transportation Coordinator. Our job is to fulfill the service, whether it's done in-house or with the private sector, and I can give you different examples of things that we've done with the private sector to try to maximize really the services that are available. I can tell you professionally from an investment point of view, I think there's a lot better places to put your money than in the public transit, but that's really for you to decide. As I said, I think probably the county would look at the best value for their dollar. A lot of the money comes from outside, and I think it's a very complex issue that I think deserves to be addressed. And once again, speaking with one of your commissioners might be a way to start the ball on that.
And it's just, the issue he raises, Lon, is certainly something that we're seeing more and more of is the discussion about the private sector and their ability, maybe not to deliver all of the service, but at least portions of service and opportunities that are out there. We are seeing more of that.
And we'd be foolish not to consider all options.
Next on the line we have Gaylord. Gaylord has a question about the cost of all this. Gaylord, welcome. You're on.
Thank you. I think what I wanted to say was kind of covered by a previous gentleman, but I'm kind of the feeling, I came over to this area from the Orlando area, and over there they have all these big extended buses that bend in the middle to go around corners and everything, and you follow them all over the place and they're empty. All they're doing is spewing out pollutants, polluting the air, and there's nobody riding them. So my opinion and my statement is that if we can't make this rider-supported, rider revenue-supported, then I don't think we need it. Let's just get rid of it and save the taxpayers some money.
Go ahead, Lon.
Well, Gaylord, I think you do bring up a lot of issues. I've heard this argument before. A lot of the things we do is give service to the community. A lot of times if we build an infrastructure that really improves people's quality of lives, maybe in your circumstance that does not have a value, but I do know there's a lot of people that ride with us that it's very hard for them to share that view.
Next up we have, and forgive me ahead of time because I'm going to get the name wrong, Cal Wu about buses in Black Diamond. I apologize, I get the name wrong.
Yes, I just want to see if you're going to have some buses running out here in Black Diamond. We just bought a house about 3 years ago out here, and we don't have a car.
Right now, we do have a service that runs past the entrance to Black Diamond. We have paratransit service that services Black Diamond, really depending on your transportation needs. There again, we'd encourage you to give us a call, 527-7630, and see if there's anything we can do to enhance your situation.
And just remind everybody, if you got a question for us, *3. We've got a lot of folks on the line. We're trying to get to everybody. Next up, we have Paul. Paul, welcome. You're on the line about US 41 Brooksville connection to Spring Hill.
Yes, I'm trying to find out if you intend to have any bus routes going from downtown Brooksville out towards down on 41 South to either Spring Hill Drive or Powell Road or California Street off of 50. because you can actually do a transfer from 41 going to Spring Hill. Right now, there is no transportation on Spring Hill Drive unless it's up near Mariner Boulevard, up that way. And on Powell Road, which is a main road going from 41 to Mariner or over to Spring Hill, and California from 50, which you do have a bus route, to up to Powell Road and Spring Hill Drive.
Good question. Let me get Dennis to answer that for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I addressed it a little bit earlier in a different fashion, but we are looking, the next service that we're expanding with is called the Green Route. It will be from Brooksville essentially to Mariner and Spring Hill Drive. The current alignment of that route will go from US 41 west on Wisconsin to California, south on California to Spring Hill Drive, and then Spring Hill Drive to Mariner. We're looking to implement that in the fall of 2015, so it's just around the corner.
Susan, that's great, Dennis. Susan, you're up next about buses running early in the evening, stopping so early in the evening.
Yes, I have a handicapped son, and I work, and it's very difficult if I have to work or I have to turn down hours. My son volunteers at Nature Coast up on California Avenue, and he volunteers at the games, and we can't get him any transportation either to or from, nor can I get any transportation to or from my employment up on just past Spring Hill Drive up by Target up that way. Is there any chance that they'll be running later in the evening?
Thank you. This is Dennis again. The short answer is yes, there is a chance for it. We're looking at several ways to improve the transit. There's expansion of routes, which is the area that we cover. Also, as you pointed out, there's the improving hours. There's even looking at days of the week that we operate. Right now, we operate on a 75-minute headway, and we'd have to take all 4 buses operating and increase their time by 75 minutes. And we've actually already increased the evening route hours last year. And with the other improvements that we're looking at, adding the Green Route, there's a chance that we have of possibly taking the circulation time down to 60 minutes. What's called headway, instead of the current 75 minutes. And that will also help us to expand it more affordably by 1 hour instead of an hour and 15 minutes at a time.
Great, Dennis. Thank you. Next up, we have Alex. Alex, a Brooksville resident. Alex, you have a question for us?
Hi, how you doing? My name's Alex. I'm a Brooksville resident, a disabled veteran at Norborne Estates, and I had a simple question about the buses. They did have a bus service coming here where we have a lot of the elderly, disabled, and handicapped people who do not have vehicles. They have canceled that service some years ago. Now, my question about it is this. To my knowledge, Brooksville has just spent several $100,000 putting fluoride injectors in our water system. Fluoride cannot be put in landfills according to FDA law.
Alex, let's stick to transportation if we could. We've got a bunch of people with questions, please.
That is relative.
Next up, we have Charles. Charles has a question for us about using the bus system with schools. Charles, go ahead. You're on.
Yes, sir. It just came to a thought of me. When I was a young man, I used the public transportation system to go to school. I had a card. I used to get on the subway with it or the buses. And I guess the school system paid the transit authority as I used the card to go back and forth to school. Why don't we do this with our middle schools and our high school children, and we can alleviate all those buses on the road that they're using and use the public transportation system to get them to their schools? I mean, this is a good way to do this. And it'll increase ridership.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Neck. One of the things that we have presently is the majority of our buses are deviated fixed ride, which means they're small. And if you see, we have a tremendous amount of people that do need to get to where they need to go at a specific time of day. I do know our present system, there's no way we would be able to handle things like that. We are very active with the Withlacoochee Technical Institute as well as the College of Central Florida, but I guess that's a different issue probably that would have to be overhauled at the state level as far as prioritizing yellow's transportation. And, we do have, the children involved would be exposed to adults, and I think that would create a set of problems on their own.
Next up, we have Kay about Elgin, in service in Elgin. Kay, welcome. You're on.
Hi. I'm calling to find out why there would be no service on Elgin Boulevard. It's a long boulevard. I know you have service on Mariner, but none on Elgin. We'd have to walk for 2 miles to get to Mariner to catch a bus. It's a very busy street, Elgin, and has a lot of occupants here. Is there any way we could have bus service on Elgin to the mall or to 50 or something like that?
Dennis?
Thank you. This is Dennis again. It's one of the, I understand what you're saying. Elgin is a busy collector road, and we are looking at it for future access. It may not occur with the green route, but the route subsequent to that would be more likely. One of the things that we look at is attractors. Yes, we go down Mariner, we go down 50, we go down 19 and Spring Hill Drive, and those all are very busy corridors that have the attractors of where a lot of our riders are wanting to go. So those are what get instituted first. That's a good question.
Next up, we have Pat. Pat, you have a question for us? Welcome. You're on.
Yeah, hi. First of all, I want to thank Citrus County Transit. They're great. From the phone to the bus service, the drivers, everybody. But the bike, you can only hold 2 bikes on the rack in front. And a lot of the schools going, like CFCC or WCI, could you put racks at the stops maybe where they could lock them up?
Pat, I think we're in the infancy stages, and when we measure demand, the bike is a very important thing in most transit agencies, and especially in Citrus. By measuring demand, we're only allowed to carry 2 bikes at a time on our racks presently. Hopefully in the future we'll increase our frequency, which will move more people at a better rate. But that amenities at the stops are something we're always interested to measure and make sure if we do put an amenity, we hit it the right spot.
Next up, we have Jay. Jay has a question for us about Suncoast. Jay, welcome. You're on.
Hi, my name is Jay. There's been talk about increasing the extension of Suncoast Parkway that stops at 98 right now, and there's been talk about land acquisitions to continue that up to the Red Line District by the nuclear power plant. And there was also talk about, they call it Citrus Port, which they were trying to bring in Citrus Port to build that up so that there would be more money coming into Citrus County. And I'm wondering why that wouldn't be on the front burner so as to alleviate the cost of extending Suncoast Parkway from 98, where it stops now, all the way up to the Red Line District.
Well, really, Jay, the real challenge is just the sheer cost of a project such as the Suncoast Parkway. It's hundreds of millions of dollars, and all things are on the table, all different ways to look at alleviating the cost. But regardless, it's still super expensive, and tolls are going to have to be a mix if you have an ability to alleviate them in any way you look to do that. But it's all part of how you look at how to address the issue. Next up, we have Ann. Ann's talking about the connection between counties. Ann, welcome. You're on.
Thank you. Was just curious, this may have been discussed before. I know that counties, I believe Citrus County had a system at one time that they would go to Ocala shopping, and it's my understanding, and it makes sense, where counties would really like to keep their revenues within the county. But I'm curious if at some point this is a connector between Citrus County, Hernando County, if the buses actually meet somewhere and there'll be a connector and people can transfer to another county bus and so on and so forth, maybe down as far as Tampa.
Awesome question. Thank you.
Hi, Ann. That's a great question. One of the things that we tried to do years ago, and we'll still try to do, is we do have a connection with the college. We have the College of Central Florida in Lecanto and the College of Central Florida in Ocala. And we would like to nurture that connection and have that be a basis for what we do in the future, very possibly something reciprocating at the county line.
Next up, we have Gladys, and just before we get to Gladys, just want to remind everybody, star 3 if you have a question, and we still have quite a few questions, and all questions, whether we get to them or not, will be answered and posted on the website. Just want to make everybody aware of that, but next up we have Gladys. Gladys, welcome, you're on.
Thank you. My name is Gladys. First of all, I have a comment. I'm happy to know that you'll be extending the bus, the green area, because my sister, who is wheelchair bound, rides the handicap bus, and she wanted to go to Silverthorne and Barkley, and they couldn't take her because that bus, the handicap bus, is connected with the bus, and it doesn't go that far. I'm wondering why the handicap bus is connected with the bus line.
Dennis?
Thank you. Well, there's 2 demand response systems in Hernando County. There's the Transportation Disadvantage System, which is sponsored by the state of Florida and run by Trans Hernando in Hernando. Then I think your question is about the Americans with Disabilities Act, or what we know as the ADA vans that run along the bus routes. Since we run fixed route, we are required, as per federal guidelines, to offer the complimentary ADA service within 3/4 of a mile of the fixed routes, and that's where it runs at the same time of days that the bus operates.
Next up, we have Leslie. Well, Leslie, welcome. You're on.
Well, thank you. I'm just calling about the cost. I'm almost 70. This fall I'll be 70, and I'm still in the workforce. But the cost on a daily basis would be $10 a day for me, and I can't afford it. Is there any way, I don't know, like seniors can get a discount? Excuse me, a discount or something?
Leslie, we have an advisory board that takes this into consideration. I do encourage you to share your viewpoint, with members. We don't make decisions in-house. We have an advisory board, and, they reflect the sentiment of the community. And I would encourage you, to contact, our office, 527-7630, and I can, put you in charge of one of our members, and that might be something that we would be happy to speak about at our next advisory board meeting, which will be in August.
Next up, we have Barbara. Barbara is asking about different organizations or associations for help with the disabled transportation. Barbara, welcome. You're on.
Yes, good evening. I was a bit disappointed, Dennis, with the response that you gave to a gentleman earlier in the evening. He had said that he was visually impaired and was caring for a disabled vet. And you indicated that at this time there was no plans to have any routes run. However, you did not offer any solutions to him. And then I'm hearing that we do have something called a handicap bus, and that there is some type of a disadvantage system. Could you expand on that a little bit so that some of these folks that are impaired have some help, possibly through VFW, DCF? Sometimes people that are on Medicaid are able to get transportation assistance.
Barbara, sure. This is actually Bob with T-BART, and let me answer that. Well, one of the things that you raise is the challenge of transportation. One of the things that I'm happy to say is there are many different options out there. Just within the 7-county region, there's over 200 different transportation providers. The challenge is finding the information and putting people to the right place. And one of the things that we at T-BART are doing is doing that very thing, is putting all of that information together. We call it a one-call, one-click line. It's going up on our website, and also you'll be able to call in with a specific request. Okay, I live in X place and I want to go Y, and I have this condition or this issue. We'll be able to put you with the various different providers that might be able to provide that service. So to your point of, there are opportunities and options. They're not going to serve everybody's needs, but there are certainly more providers than just the traditional transit system or the bus service and the transportation disadvantage system, which is what I believe Dennis was specifically referring to. But they're out there. We hear you. We understand. That's kind of one of the big parts of this whole initiative, is to get the word out, because people do have the challenges that you're talking about. And definitely thank you for that question. Next up, I'd like to go to Rhonda. Rhonda, welcome. You're on the phone. You're on live.
Yes, sir. My question is, okay, I live up in Crystal River, but I have a few of my friends that live out by the power plant. Okay, there are no sidewalks and there's no buses that even come in, and I know that some of them are on fixed income, and I want to know, why couldn't we have like a substation for the buses, so that they don't have to travel a long distance, and maybe send out surveys to the ones that are actually in homebound, to where we have a better idea of what areas really need special types of buses. And on the crosstown, the Suncoast, they're eliminating the toll, the pay as you go. They're only doing it by tag or SunPass. So I don't see why, and that is supposed to be also used as an emergency evacuation route, so I don't see why they can't extend that up to Ocala and have us a couple of major drop-offs, like here for Lecanto and for Beverly Hills, and then a major drop-off for Ocala, and then let them take it the rest of the way. Or put us in sidewalks, because like the guy that's blind...
Let me cut you off here.
I'm sorry.
You've got a bunch of questions there, so go ahead. I'm going to let Lon
First of all, Rhonda,
take a shot at it.
Rhonda, this is one of the reasons we're here tonight, and I do appreciate your call. We don't know about a demand until we go out and we talk and we're active in the community. And there again, I don't want to sound like that. I would love to talk to you individually, 527-7630. When we put projects together, we bring in the city of Crystal River, the city of Inverness, and we try to get as much public input as we can. I do know we will have some workshops in the near future. They will be in the paper, and there's a fantastic chance for you to share your ideas of what we can look for in the future.
And next up, we have Christine. Christine, thanks for holding. You're on the line. Christine? Can't hear Christine. We're going to move on. Let me go to Elaine. Elaine, welcome. You're on.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I do live by the Veterans Park, and I did hear you say you're going to be bringing the buses, that green bus, up. But how far will it be going? Will it be going to Kohl's Shopping Center and Target?
This is Dennis. Yes, ma'am. It will go along Spring Hill Drive from California Street west to all the way to Mariner Boulevard and everything in between there. So yes, it will go by the Kohl's.
We have a couple questions about sidewalks. I'm going to take Gina's because I think it'll answer some of the questions here. Gina, welcome. You're on the line. You're on the phone. You're on live with us. We know you're on the phone. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. My question is that all this money that has been spent along 19, going down 50, all these sidewalks, why did transportation put all that money into all those sidewalks where I don't hardly ever see anybody on a bicycle walking those sidewalks? So why wouldn't they have put it more into transportation to help these elderly people get around, or working people get around, because they sure are not using the sidewalks?
Thank you. There's a concept out that is popular in transportation planning called complete streets, and there's all sorts. People travel by multiple modes, not just by cars, not just by buses, but also walking, pedestrians, bicyclists. And this is an important facet also with the accessibility to transit. If you can't walk to a bus stop or ride a bike to a bus stop, not as likely to ride the bus. So there are reasons for doing it, more so in the urban core, admittedly.
Next up, we have actually we have Carol on the phone. Carol, welcome. You're on the phone.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. It's funny this lady's mentioning the sidewalks. I traveled to Pasco County from eastern Hernando County, and they use their sidewalks that are put on 301, but I noticed the ones on 50 and east of Brooksville aren't used so much. But my question is, according to a recent article in the Tampa Bay Times, there is going to be improvements at some point at State Road 50 and the I-75 corridor for improvements for Route 50, and I wondered, and hopefully I'm hopeful that the sidewalks will be part of the project, and wondering if they are, would they connect to the Withlacoochee Rails to Trails bike path, which would allow us biking and walking access to the facilities at the intersection. It's only way less than a mile from that area, and I'm.
Great, Carol. Let me get Dennis to answer that for you. Go ahead, Dennis.
Oh, very good question. Thank you. The short answer is DOT is planning for at least 5-foot sidewalks, and what I'm trying to move. In working with DOT, we're trying to get at least a 10-foot sidewalk, called a wide walk, right next to the interchange, under the interchange, and then going east from Windermere over to the trail. That would become a 12-foot, 10 to 12-foot wide actual trail, and yes, it would connect to the Withlacoochee Trail at the trailhead. And the interchange project is underway, funded right now. It will start up very shortly. Going all the way over to the trail itself will be a few years out, but not too far.
We have a few more minutes and a few more questions. We're going to see if we can get them all in. Let's go to Connie. Connie, welcome. You're on the line.
Thank you. I'm in Citrus County, and I thoroughly am impressed with the transit system. The only thing is I'm both visually and physically, disabled, but I can't get to my doctor's in Gainesville yet. I know the buses take the vets up there, but when I call to ask, the girls are great in the office too. They tell me because I'm not on Medicaid that I can't get up to Gainesville.
Hi, Connie. I'd like to take your question. One of the things is I will tell you, as an organization, we do not go out of county except for special for Medicaid trips. However, as part of the Community Transportation Coordinator, we are going to try to resolve that situation with a public-private partnership. We are working with different organizations in the county, and there again, please give us a call, 527-7630, so we can stimulate this conversation. We want to fill the transportation need, whether we do it directly or indirectly, and thank you for sharing that need with us.
All right, we've got just really quickly here. We want to get two in, so please be brief in your question. Tom has a question for us about US 19. Tom, welcome. You're on.
And thanks for taking my call. I wish someone can explain to me what the plan is for the construction from Route 19 up Route 50 east. I thought it was going to be a 6-lane highway, but all I see there is 2 lanes each way and awfully wide bike paths on either side.
All right, let me go to Dennis. Dennis?
Short answer is it's designed and being built as a 6-lane with a 10-foot urban trail on the south side and a sidewalk on the north side.
Perfect. And then last call for the evening, Debbie. Debbie, welcome. You're on the line.
Hi, how you doing this evening? I'm handicapped, but I can drive. And to supplement my income, I have people that call me and say, could you take me to the store? And I take them to the store, they pay me for gas, and then they say, well, we want to give you money to help you. And I say, no, just buy me a steak. Well, there's a lot of people out there that can help people that have a problem, and they're sitting at home doing nothing, and they really want to help. Couldn't there be some kind of program where handicapped people or people
Debbie,
that
we're
don't
running
have...
out of time. Let me get Lon to answer your question. Lon?
Debbie, I do know that we have more volunteers in Citrus County than I think anywhere else in the world, and we have a lot of people that try to help. There again, we'd like to coordinate this service with people that are willing to do it, and it's all about matching things up. So hopefully that we can take people that help like you and really expand upon that charity.
First of all, great calls tonight. Want to thank everybody. So you all know we had about 9,000 people join in the call at any one time. Quite a few calls we answered. Just want to let you all know and thank you for joining us tonight. That if you had a question that did not get answered or a comment for us, or want to join the email list, remain on the line after the call and leave us a voicemail. Be sure to leave your name, comment, and email address. All of the answers and questions will be up on our website. We can put that out there. I'd like to personally thank both Dennis Dix and Lon Fry for being here tonight and answering the citizens' questions. I thought we had great input. Thought it went very well. And Lon, any final thoughts?
Well, it's great that we have people active in the community, and we need your thoughts to plan for the future. And thank you for participating in our outreach.
Dennis?
I totally agree with Lon. The public input is absolutely essential for us to provide the best transportation service that we can, and your input is valued.
If you'd like to find out more information about TBARTA and this New Freedom Initiative, please go to our website at www.tbarta.com. There's also several other ways you can interact with us, members of the community. You can follow us on Twitter or on Facebook to continue the conversation, ask questions, get answers, and we'll provide them for you. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, and have a great night.